Okay, let's talk about one of the most powerful companies on the entire planet, Saudi Aramco. Now I know what you're thinking. Oil, right? Well, yes, but their real story, and especially their game plan for the future, it's way more surprising than you might expect. And when I say powerful, I mean, just look at this. The scale of their operations is absolutely massive. We're talking about a true giant of global industry. And their profits? Well, they are just staggering. So that brings up the big questions, right? In a world that's trying to shift away from fossil fuels, how does a company that's literally built on oil stay on top of its game? And maybe more importantly, what moves are they making right now to lock in their future? Let's dig in. All right, so we're going to break down their latest results for you, and we'll do it in about 5 minutes. No fluff, no filler, just the key stuff you need to know to understand where this trillion-dollar machine is actually headed. Okay, first things first, the big picture. Let's just look at the headline numbers. How did they actually do this last quarter? So here's what the company's CEO, Amin Nasser, had to say. He's basically framing their recent performance as a story of being able to adapt. He's pointing to how they can navigate all these market changes and still come out with really powerful results. And here is the number that backs that claim right up. $28 billion. That's their adjusted net income for a single quarter. Yeah, Q3 2025. Just let that sink in for a second. That is pure profit. Profit is one thing, but as they say, cash is king. And get this, that $28 billion in profit, it generated an even bigger number, $36 billion in actual cash from their operations. So what do they do with all that cash? Well, they paid out over $21 billion of it, straight to shareholders. I mean, that is the literal definition of a cash machine. Okay, so we've established they're incredibly profitable. But where's all that money actually coming from? Well, that brings us to what you could call their engine room, the upstream business. And that's pretty much everything involved with getting oil and gas out of the ground. And this right here, this shows a huge strategic shift. Aramco is seriously cranking up its target for natural gas production. They aren't just tweaking the numbers a little bit, they're now aiming for something like an 80% increase in gas capacity by 2030. That is a massive, super aggressive pivot toward gas. And this isn't just some goal on a piece of paper. It is being backed up by absolutely colossal investments in projects like the Jafurah gas developments and the huge Margin project. We're talking about building the actual physical infrastructure to make this gas-powered future happen. So that's the upstream story, getting it out of the ground. But really, that's only half the picture. The next logical question is, what are they doing with all this oil and gas once they have it? Well, that brings us to their downstream business. Downstream is basically everything that happens after it leaves the ground. Refining it into the fuels and the products we all use every single day. And this is an area where they are expanding their global reach fast. Just take a look at some other recent moves. They're building a brand new, massive refining and petrochemical complex in China. They just bought a stake in a major petroleum company in the Philippines. And they've increased their ownership in a big refining complex right at home in Saudi Arabia. So what's the common thread here? It's all about locking in future customers and getting closer to those high-growth markets, particularly in Asia. So the big takeaway here is that they're building this totally integrated global system. Think about it. From the moment the oil or gas leaves the ground to the moment it goes into a car or becomes a product, they want to be involved. They're capturing value at every single step, and that positions them as this absolutely essential partner in the global energy supply chain. All right, now for what I think is maybe the most surprising part of Aramco's whole strategy. Because even as they're doubling down on oil and gas, they're also making these huge bets on technologies that have, well, almost nothing to do with an oil barrel. And this isn't just about using a bit of tech to make their current operations more efficient. No, they are actively investing in what's known as Fourth Industrial Revolution technologies. We're talking about things that could fundamentally change how they even think about their own business. And the centerpiece of this strategy seems to be a big investment in a company called Humane. And this company is all in on artificial intelligence. We're talking next-generation data centers, advanced AI models, the whole shebang. This is a very serious move into the high-tech world of AI. And it's not just AI either. Their tech portfolio is getting really diverse. For instance, they're using low Earth orbit satellites to get better data from their remote sites. They're developing new ways to store solar energy. They're even working on this wild, cutting-edge tech to turn crude oil directly into chemicals, which would totally bypass the normal refining process. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, right? From massive profits to AI and even satellites. So let's try to pull it all together. What's the bottom line? What does all of this actually mean? Really, it boils down to this really powerful two-pronged strategy. On one side, you have maximize value. That means squeezing every last drop of profit and efficiency from their core oil and gas business. But on the other side, you have invest for the future, and that means aggressively expanding into new markets and cutting-edge tech. They are literally using the insane profits from today's energy to pay for their big bets on tomorrow's technology. It's like they're playing offense and defense at the exact same time. And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. How will one company's massive bets on both today's energy and tomorrow's technology end up shaping our world? Because it's clear Aramco isn't just an oil company anymore. It's a global energy, chemicals, and now a technology powerhouse. And the moves it's making today, they're for sure going to have a huge impact on all of us for decades to come.